Thank you so much for sitting with me, Michael. Michael is one of our AJAR clients, one of the people that we've journeyed with when we met in prison. And today we're going to be talking about his experience, how he got there, and what it looked like for him to go through the criminal justice system and to be acquitted on appeal. So thank you so much for sitting with me today, Michael.
Thank you too.
Right, Michael, tell us about yourself. How old are you? What do you do? Where do you live?
Oh, well, as you've just heard, my name's Michael Weche.
Yes.
I'm 50 years old. I'm a father of four boys and one girl. I work as a community social worker. Professionally, I'm also a teacher. I work in slum areas, and right away I'm working in the Korogocho slum, to be very much specific.
Okay.
Korogocho is a slum consisting of so many families that are quite vulnerable, and they have to be uplifted. So in one way that I approached these families is to come up with a community school. Secondly, through the administration, the Korogocho was lacking a health facility, a public health facility. So the area chief approached me as a social community worker and told me that, okay, there's a group that you are in that is now doing community health services. So I had to join, I had to volunteer myself to work in the health in the group, and then we started a health facility by the name Maendeleo Afya kwa Wote Korogocho, abbreviated to be MACWAC.
Okay.
So in MACWAC, with my ability, I had a position of the secretary. So I had to, there are so many activities that we were doing. Among them is checking people with women who are delivering reproductive services. And then also, since Korogocho is neighboring a dump site area, there are so many families that had TB infections. So we were also doing the same. And through the donation, we had some activities on TB, of which we had a donation that was to be rolled out. So we did it, and from that is when other community members who are not very much focused at development, they saw that jealousy and they had to report my case to.
Okay. So let me ask this.
Yes.
You're doing community health work.
Yes.
And then trouble comes.
Yes.
So what was the nature of the problem or the conflict, and how did it end up in court?
Okay, a very good question, of which it has been, or it is a major problem in slum areas, especially communities that has got people who are not very much educated or highlighted in life. Wherever that you bring up an activity that may start generating a little income, and the people think that maybe you are benefiting out of it. So this is exactly what happened. There are few who understood, those who are working with us, they understood whatever that we were doing. But a few who had ill motives and jealousy are the ones who ganged up, and then they ended up getting into the police station without even coming to sit together, so that we may actually talk together and let them understand. They're just on the fence, checking what you are doing, and then at the end of it, they decide on the fake information, and then you end up getting into prison. That's exactly what happened to me.
Okay. So tell me about your first day in court, or your arrest and then ending up in court. Can you remember that day?
I can remember, actually, it is just like a dream, because the rest of my life I've never been in a police cell. I've never been even caught up with a policeman, because the work that I've been doing in the community have been very, very much clear, and I haven't crossed ways with anybody in the community. So to me, I just thought that it is very normal. They found me in the facility, continuing with my work. These policemen were in civilian, so I thought they're just the normal clients who are coming for the services. So when they come, they introduce themselves, that they are policemen. They asked me what we are doing. I explained to them, because as a secretary, that's what I used to do to any other visitor who used to visit the facility. So I explained to them, I told them how we do, and then at the end of it all, because they found me in the pharmacy, they talked of, we are police officers, and we've come to really look for the secretary. Are you the secretary, Mr. Michael Weche? I said, yes, of course I am. Okay, it has been reported that there's some money that you stole. So I was wondering which kind of money that I stole. And they told me, okay, you are running a bank account with Equity Kariobangi. I said, yes, of course. And then they told me, okay, as a secretary, it's reported that there's money that you stole from the bank. I told them, fine. I don't think if we stole any money, because we've been running the account as account signatories, because I'm an official to that account. So if there is any area that I stole, then I have to be explained to. So they told me, okay, fine, you have to go to the police station because of that matter. But before we go, I'm feeling headache. May you really give me some drugs to make myself relieve. So I had to give him Panadol.
Did he pay for them?
He didn't pay. He didn't pay for them. So I gave him, after taking the drugs. Okay, we went together with him. They were two, so we went together with them to the police station. I was put in cell, waiting to be explained how I stole. But to my surprise, there was no clear explanation, because whatever that I said is the statement that I wrote, that I'm a signatory to the account. I have staffs. We have the volunteer doctors with other staffs in the facility that I do facilitate in paying them every day on a daily basis. So there's money that I do withdraw from the account, and any little that we also collect from the facility, we also take to the account. So this has been my work. So wherever that I stole the money, I don't know. So I ended up from there to the court.
So now you've landed in court.
Yes.
What was the most surprising thing, first of all, about you? You're now in court. What
Yes,
surprised you more
my
than anything
most
else?
surprising thing was the language to speak.
Okay.
How to express myself, because whatever allegation that I'm being given, I just don't know. So the way I can defend myself, the way I'm going to explain how, the only word that I remain with is, I didn't commit the crime. And that is all. Yes.
So did you even understand what was going on in court at that time?
Actually, I did not understand anything.
Okay.
I didn't understand anything.
Okay.
Yeah, until when maybe we met in the in prison. That's when, from your explanation, I just now started to understand. Okay, this is what was going on and how it was supposed to be. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went through the entire trial by yourself. You defended yourself when you were put on your defense, and you were not understanding what was going on.
Exactly.
Okay, so now the day comes when Michael Weche, and you are not alone, you are with Silas.
Yes, I was with Silas.
You now come for sentencing,
Yes.
and you are sentenced. Okay, so now you've been told you're going to prison. What's going through your mind?
I knew that we are not going to be sentenced. We are not going to prison anymore. But to my surprise, the magistrate announced that I'm sentenced 3 years. In fact, it was not 3 years. I was told it is 18 months. So in prison. So I got mixed up. Everything looked like now I'm in total darkness. So the policeman had to push me together with my colleague outside the court, and then we just went in. But I didn't actually understand what will happen or what will be the next step. I was totally mixed up. Yes.
And then were you put in the truck, the prison one, the big bus?
We were first of all put in the cell,
Okay.
awaiting for the truck.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were in the cells.
We were in the cell.
And then after that you were put in the bus.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now the bus has taken you and you are arriving at Industrial Area Remand Prison.
Industrial Area Remand.
What is that experience like?
I thought on entering very, very, very soon, maybe the next day or after 2 days, I'll be out of this place. But to my surprise, when I went in, we were again ushered in with the same statements we got at the court, and then we were put in sort of, we call it reception, where the visitors who get into the prison are put. And then that place was terrible because for my first time in my life, when time reached to go to bed, but before going to bed, we were brought food. The food was brought, but this kind of food were very funny plates with, actually that day we had githeri. So we had a few beans and maize mixed together, just little with a lot of water on it. And then we were told, okay, this is your supper. I was not able to eat. I had to just one bite, two bites, and then there are people who are very, very fast at eating. They took the stuff and then they ate it. Then from there we went into where we were supposed to sleep. That place, they are so-called the kinara, the ones in charge of the room. They told us, okay, at this place, this is where you will be. We were showed where the washrooms are, and the washroom is the same place where you take shower and everything. And then from there, we were told some water that was used, and then we were told, okay, after that we have to sleep in the same room. Okay, I was really following up because as my first experience, I didn't know exactly what will happen. So I was following up to find now where are the mattresses or the beds, but there were no beds. So they brought very, very thin mats, and then they spread around the floor. After spreading around the floor, we were so many people, almost 80 people in that small room. So we were now being arranged on how to sleep side by side, facing on opposite sides. So we were arranged, and then we were told, this is how you will sleep. So before we sleep, we have to pray. There was the Muslim and then the Christian. So they had short prayers. Actually, it was still very early. It was not yet even at 7 p.m. So after having that short prayer, we were now told, okay, now everybody to take his position. So we were lying side by side, facing opposite side. Now, I and my colleague, we were a bit aged. We were told, okay, you are not supposed to sleep with the young boys, and may you move on the other side. So we were put together with a few old people who were there, but still the arrangement is still the same. After being arranged, we are told, okay, when you turn, you should alert each and everyone so that you turn all of you, because the space was very, very small. We were lying side by side. So when you are sleeping, you're just like that. When you want to turn, now everybody has to turn. So that was the experience, that the first experience. So I was trying to imagine, will I stay in the same situation for 18 months? Now I said, okay, God forbid, I'll just persevere. Okay, the mats we were actually on the ground, because it was not a mattress. I mean, very, very tiny mats that were on the floor. So, and the mats were infected with the bed bugs and the lice. And then we just slept. There was another white person, a European person, who was also in the same room with us that day. People kept on scratching themselves the whole night. Nobody slept. Nobody, maybe a few who slept, but nobody slept. We were just in that manner until morning. We were not even woken up because people were not sleeping, so we were just awake.
And all of these are the new people now?
I understand that they were new.
So everyone in that room, the 80 of you, were new people?
We were new people.
Okay.
Yes.
So then, now you have 18 months ahead of you.
Yes.
This, I imagine, is late February, early March. What for you is one experience in prison that you think, I will never forget that experience? I know there are many.
Well, one thing, after waking up the next day, we were now taken back to the documentation room, and then we were to now be, the clothes that we came with, we were now given a place to keep, and then we were given now officially now the uniform for the prisoners.
The black and white stripes.
The black and white stripes. Okay, now after that, again, we were told, okay, apart from the 18 months, there is again another 18 months that has been brought from the court. Now you will serve 36 months in prison. I was actually shocked. I was shocked, and I just, after putting on the uniform, the black and white striped uniform, we were now taken back in the rooms, and then we were given the official cards to be the prisoners now, and then we were shown another block where the prisoners now do reside. And in that block, I also got a very big number of people also there. And as newcomers, we didn't know, but we were taken, or we were given a place to sleep next to the toilet. That is one experience that I've never forget in my life, because that is where you eat from, and that is where everybody in the room will just come and appease themselves from there. And a lot of cold will always come from there. And actually, for the first month in prison, I was not myself, but I thank God, because when we started that life, I just surrendered myself to God. I told God, okay, if this is the experience that you want me to go through as a reward of the good work that I've been doing in the community, then let it be so. So we kept on praying all the time with my colleague. We kept on praying. There's a time that so many worries came into my mind, because I was on my last semester in my college. I was to the last semester to my college. I was to go and sit for examination after studying for 2 years. Now that one had gone. I had my family at home, and part of the family here at Nairobi. Now everything was at a standstill. I didn't know where to start from and where to end. Actually, it was very, very painful. I kept on crying the whole month, and I didn't even want to talk to anyone. But through the prayers and my colleague, when we talked and praying, I started gaining. And then after 3 months in prison, that's when I started coming up again into my senses, accepting that actually I'm in prison. Yes.
Okay, so you've gone through this heavy, traumatic first month and then 3 months.
Yes.
Enter AJAR. How did you meet us, or how did you know about us? Or what's that part?
That is also another place that I thank God, because after 3 months, we were sharing with the other colleagues, and they told us, okay, there's an office that can help you. That is a paralegal office within the compound of the prisons. So when we heard about it, we got interested, and we decided to visit the paralegal office. And then when we went there, we met this officer called Mr. Nyaga. Mr. Nyaga listened to our story about how we came into the prison. And then on a hurry, he told us that okay, the only way we can do, which is very, very cheap, is to do the sentence review. So we did the sentence review through his assistance, and it was not for free. We had to commit again our families outside the prison to cough a little cash, so that the officer may assist us in that matter. So he wrote the necessary needed documents, and then he had to he took to the court. But he also told us that we cannot do this without a lawyer. So we told him, okay, we do not have a lawyer. If you can have, then you can introduce him or her to us. And that is when we were introduced to Mr. Gilbert as the lawyer, and that's when we now met Mr. Gilbert, and we took over the case, and he looked at it, and he advised us that now this one sentence review will not do. It's better to do the appeal. But because we had filed it in court, the judge at the High Court also retreated by saying that since you did not commit the offense, you don't have to review. Instead, you have to appeal. And that's when we started the process of appeal. Yes.
Okay, so we do this process of appeal, and things are slow, but they are moving.
Yes, yes, yes.
We've withdrawn the application for sentence review because essentially you are claiming you're innocent.
Yes.
And if you're innocent, we need to find a way. And the appeal is filed, but the appeal is caught up with COVID.
Yes.
Because the dates that we have that were coming up before Judge Kimaru are lost because of COVID.
Yes.
But thankfully, Judge Ngenye agrees to receive your application for bail pending.
Yes.
But you're on the other side because you're on the internet. What was that experience like, having your hearing online instead of in court?
Well, first I try to imagine that this time we were just being viewed over the television. And it is quite different from when you appear physically, because when you are seen entirely, there's that body expressions, and somebody can really have some feeling of the outlook, and again you have enough time to explain yourself. But now on the mirrors, on the walls, it was a very funny experience to me, because I didn't believe that this one will go through. I didn't believe. Actually, I didn't believe that it may not go through.
Okay.
Yes.
And then how did you find out that you were going to now leave when your bail application was successful?
Well, when the judge, when I saw the judge together with my lawyer, and then the way the lawyer did it was like, it's me who is doing it. And then the way the judge accepted and really looked at it, I saw, now it's working. Okay, I felt so much happy. And then I said, okay, at long last, I'm now going to get my freedom. And when the judge pronounced that we are to be free after paying a cash bail of 20,000, I was like, everything is over, because initially we were supposed to pay 300,000 is when we get out from the prison. Now it has come to a point that the judge was to let us go free, but because of the process of the court, we have to get out on a cash bail of 20,000. I actually felt so happy, and I trusted to God that God works, and it really happens if you trust in God. Yes.
And then eventually we argued the appeal.
Yes.
And it came up for judgment on the 28th of July.
Yes.
Where were you on 28th of July?
After paying the cash bail, I got out, and after being enclosed in one place for 15 good months, that is 1 year, 3 months. And the place where I was working in the kitchen, where the rest of my life I've never been in that environment. So I was every day, day in, day out, getting smokes and fumes, smokes and fumes, smokes and fumes. Now this time I'm now out, I'm now free. I felt so, it was amazing to me. It was actually amazing to me. I was like, I didn't want even to board a vehicle. I just wanted to walk freely because I wanted to believe that I'm not in that environment. I wanted to know that I'm not in that environment. So when I left industrial area, and I took a vehicle because it's a bit far, but the vehicle, I didn't want the vehicle to reach me where I stay. Yes, so I alighted from the vehicle about a kilometer away so that I may just enjoy walking and intermingling and meeting people. You know, inside there you only see men. Only men. Yeah. So I was in a disbelief, seeing now women, vehicle, everything is now coming to normal. I ended up going to a room because churches were closed. Everybody was in masks, and I didn't leave such situations. I left, everything was normal when I was getting into prison. But on coming out, I found everything is totally changed. People with masks, and then we were to be rushed because of the curfew. So I went into a room, I prayed. After that, got into my place of stay, and then it was nice. It was quite nice. I felt now it's working. Yes.
And on the day you received
From
the
there,
judgment,
yes,
now,
from there, still, I was not actually having my own freedom because there was still again a day for judgment. So I was like, will it again happen that I'm taken back in prison, or what will happen? So I kept on bothering my lawyer. Okay, how will it go by? What will happen? There's a time when we were on a mention, and my lawyer was sharing with me that, are you hearing that case? That guy is in Bungoma, and he's been now again sentenced. He has to be put in prison. So the person who is working on that case has to look for this man. So I thought, okay, now again, will it happen like this guy again? I get back in prison. Okay, I gave myself hope. When that day of 28th reached, that night I did not sleep, waiting to see what will happen. But the time I was on the Skype, but when it was almost that time for judgment, my stomach rolled and I felt I have to go to the toilet. I went to the toilet. On coming back, I found, everything is over. I'm now free. I'm not free. I jumped up. I was very happy because it happened in my room, in my house. That's when all this was happening on the Skype. So the rest of my family, my colleague, we were very happy. We felt so nice. We felt so nice. Yes.
okay.
And I really thank God for that.
So let me ask you just a final, or one of my last questions.
Yes.
If you are an ordinary person living in Korogosho, paying rent of what, 2,000 shillings?
Yes, 2,000 shillings.
Trying to mind your own business, your monthly income is maybe 10,000 if it's at most, 5,000 if it's on average.
Yes.
Can you really afford to go to court and to leave your family and to go to prison? What is the role of costs and bail and all that?
Actually, Mr. Gilbert, that is where so many people, our community is just lying and dying in prisons because of that. Because at that much, the much that we get in Korogocho as a slum is just very little that is meant for at least hand to mouth, something to put on the table and you eat, and that's the end of it. So when something happens that now you've gotten yourself in my situation where I was, with all those bills, normally you just give up life, and then you end up now this family disappears, and now everything that just go like that. And that's why some of these people do commit suicide, and then they end up dying. Yes.
In prison.
Some in prison, and also the time when they come out, you find them maybe where you are renting, no more house, your family is no more. Now what do? You don't have a job, and life has to continue. You end up now deciding to commit suicide, and then you die, and everything ends there.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there an importance or a role of pro bono lawyers, like what AJAR does, in going into prisons and helping people? Is it something useful, or we should stop?
Very, very useful. In fact, you guys, you should just get more and more lawyers to help people like of that nature, because what you did, if like in my case, if I could not have gotten you as my lawyer and help me out of the prison, definitely I could have been languishing in prison, because I was to be there innocently for 36 months, and then because of the cost and everything, nothing could have happened. I could have just been there for that time. On coming out, now everything is lost. So it's very important for the you call them pro
bono lawyers.
Pro bono lawyers, very, very important people. Very important people.
Now, my final question: what are you looking forward to? What is the one thing you really can't wait to see or do? What are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to see is one, the people, because I'm still in Korogocho, and there are people who are there who have somehow are going through what I'm going through, and my view is if we can have a connection with the volunteer lawyers, so that such people can be helped. Secondly, I've started my life again fresh, and I'm now more careful with my steps, and it's good that I'm now in touch with the lawyers. So whatever step that I may take, I have a place to get pieces of advice. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Michael, for taking out the time to talk, and thanks for sharing your story with us. We're just honored that we can share this journey with you and with everyone else out there, and hopefully we'll be able to do more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.